A logical rumor, Apple's quarterly earnings call, Google Drive now out, and Google slashes the price of the Galaxy Nexus. It's Wednesday, April 25th, 2012, and this is iWake. I'm Tim Chaten, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Good morning and welcome to another edition of iWake. Before digging into Apple's quarterly earnings and the Google Drive announcement, I wanted to simply acknowledge a logical rumor that shouldn't surprise anybody. The rumor is this: the next version of iPhoto will heavily borrow from the new iPhoto app for iOS. So yes, this is something that we can all believe to be true and accurate, as I believe it is. The report includes a couple of details about potential new features. The new Mac version of iPhoto is said to gain the excellent photo journal feature and a redesigned photo retouching system, both inspired by the iPhoto version of iPhoto. For iOS. This site also claims that the new iPhoto will require Lion or Mountain Lion and not work on Snow Leopard. So that's the rumor. And while this is a rumor, I really wish sites didn't brand these things as rumors, but rather think pieces on what the future of Apple will be. These aren't rumors. These are simply intelligent thoughts that are being branded as rumors. A rumor should come from a real source and should not be as frequent as they tend to be these days, unless you just have a really leaky source, and that really doesn't happen at Apple. And I think we can all believe that new iWork and iLife will be coming with the release of Mountain Lion, as the press were already shown a preview of iWork coming out when Mountain Lion gets released. So Apple's working on these things, and it's not really a surprise that this kind of stuff is coming. Now on to the big Apple news of the day, the Apple's quarterly earnings call. So how'd they do? Apple posted revenue of $39.2 billion and net quarterly profit of $11.6 billion, or $12.30 per diluted share, compared to revenue of $24 billion in net quarterly profit of $5.99 billion, or 6.4 diluted share in the year-ago quarter. So basically what that all means is they did a great job and made a ton of money. Gross margin was 47.4% compared to 41.4% just a year ago quarter, which is phenomenal to me because the new iPad is expected to cost more to make. International sales account for 64% of all the revenue Apple made. Apple's quarterly profit and revenue were both company records for the March quarter. Quarterly, iPhone sales reached 35.1 million units as expected from those studying Apple. This was up 88% from the year-ago quarter. The company sold around 11.8 million iPads during this quarter, up 151% over the last quarter a year ago. Apple sold 4 million Macintosh computers during this quarter, which is a unit increase of 7% from last year. The company sold 7.7 million iPods, representing a 50% unit decline over the year-ago quarter, which is nothing too surprising, especially since we didn't really get a new iPod Touch this year. The remarkable thing about all this is that the iPhone accounted for 58% of all revenue for Apple. 58% was just from the iPhone. Beyond those pure stats are a few tidbits from the call. First up is Apple reaffirming that Mountain Lion is coming out late summer of 2012. There are now 25 million iCloud users and more than 365 million iOS devices sold in the company's history, 50 million of those being sold in the latest quarter. App-wise, there are now more than 600,000 iOS apps, with 200,000 of those being iPad apps. The company increased their war chest of cash to $110.2 billion, so they've well crossed over that $100 billion mark, and that's up from the $97.6 million from last quarter. Tim Cook shared also how the iPad 2 is still in huge demand, even with the insane demand for this new iPad. Tim also reiterated that the MacBook Air and iPad are not suitable to be converged into a single device. You make compromises by doing just that, and Tim Cook doesn't want to compromise the iPad or the Mac. Finally, Tim Cook was asked why Apple was spending so much money on research and development, which I kind of know why they're spending money on this, but he answers by saying, "We view this as a good thing. We are investing in engineering to bring out the best products in the world. We are making investments in hardware and software engineering teams. We're shipping the best products we've ever shipped. We've got some fabulous new products in the pipeline. We're thrilled with the ROI we're going to see on these investments." And no one asked Tim when WWDC 2012 will be. So that's what happened in the earnings call yesterday. You can listen to the full call in iTunes or read summaries done by sites on places like macrumors.com or macworld.com. Now on to the other big tech story of the day, and that is Google Drive. Google Drive is a direct competitor to Dropbox. It offers an almost clone-like interface to Dropbox for the Mac and includes similar functionality. Google gives you 5 gigabytes of free storage and has clients for Android, Mac, Windows, and coming soon to iOS. The service also allows you to open more than 30 different file types directly in the browser, allowing users like yourself to view files from programs like Illustrator and Photoshop without actually having those apps installed. The service includes extensive sharing and collaboration features as well. Meanwhile, Google decided to give us Gmail users a storage bump. Now we get 10 gigabytes of free storage within Gmail, which is a bump up from 7.5 gigabytes that we all had yesterday. And if you were someone that paid for Gmail storage, you'll notice that if you install Google Drive, that you, instead of having 5 gigabytes of storage, you'll now have 25 gigabytes of storage. A pretty cool thing. Now, if you want to have more than 5 gigabytes of free storage for Google Drive, you will need to pay. You can upgrade to 25 gigabytes, 100 gigabytes, 200 gigabytes, 400 gigabytes, 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 4 terabytes, 8 terabytes, or 16 terabytes of storage in the cloud. Prices range from $2.49 all the way up to $800 a month, depending on what you are getting. Prices overall are very good and less expensive than Dropbox. Dropbox right now is still what I'll be using for my main online storage, but I will use Google Drive in combination with that. Dropbox currently integrates with more iOS apps and has some history to it that makes me trust it. And trust is important when it comes to files. I also have a free account with 8.25 gigabytes of storage. That's free storage. Google Drive has no way that I know of to earn free storage as I have done with Dropbox. Well, beyond that, let's close out Google Drive news in a comparison to Dropbox in terms of their terms of service. Google Drive's terms of service state, when you upload or otherwise submit content to our services, you give Google and those we work with a worldwide license to use, host, store, reproduce, modify, create derivative works such as those resulting from translations, adaptations, or other changes we make so that your content works better with our services. You're able to we Google are able to communicate, publicly perform, publicly display, or distribute your content. So basically, Google has free reign over whatever you upload, versus what Dropbox states of, by using our services, you provide us with information, files, and folders that you submit to Dropbox, your stuff. You retain full ownership of your stuff. We don't claim any ownership to any of it. These terms do not grant us any rights to your stuff or intellectual property, except for the limited rights that are needed to run the services as explained below. So chances are you'll never have to deal with an issue of this terms of service, as in most cases, no company would want to do what Google says they will do or have the right to do. But I just wanted to share these terms with you so you're aware of them before you start using Google Drive. For more information about Google Drive, visit drive.google.com. Many users already have Google Drive, as myself has Google Drive. They're first rolling out to Google Apps customers and Android users, or those that have registered an email address with their Android phone. So that's that, and you should be able to get it fairly soon. Now let's close up the show with just a mention I wanted to share today, is that Google is now selling the Galaxy Nexus unlocked for an incredible price of $400. The unlocked device comes contract-free and yours to play with as long as you want. According to Google, we started shipping Nexus phones more than 2 years ago to give you a pure Google experience and access to the latest Android updates. Today, we've started selling the Galaxy Nexus HSPA Plus version from a new devices section in the Google Play web store, so you can quickly and easily purchase an unlocked version of this phone. We want to give you a place to purchase Nexus devices that work really well with your digital entertainment. So there you go. The once $300 Galaxy Nexus has dropped to $200 on contract, or at an incredible now $400 off contract, versus if you go to the Verizon store, you'll be paying $650. So one thing you got to love about Apple is when you buy something, you have a good notion that the value of that device you buy is not going to go down and get slashed the very next day. This is both a curse and a blessing. For those that buy devices from Apple on day one, this is a blessing. For those that want to wait it out to try to get lower cost devices, that's a curse. So either way you look at it, it's good and bad. So just some interesting news. If you want a Galaxy Nexus, $400 from the Google Play Store. Well, that's what's going on in the Apple world today. If you like the show, and I hope you do, I really do, head on over to iTunes where I host the audio version of the show because I could really use some new reviews over there. As many people find the show on iTunes and that's where they listen to it at, I'd love if you'd head on over there, search for iWake in iTunes and leave a review. It would be really helpful. Also, if you're listening to the audio version, check out the video version, which I think is the best way to watch and listen to iWake. You can head on over to youtube.com/TCHATEN to find my YouTube channel and watch iWake as well as all of the other videos that I record for YouTube. So head on over youtube.com/TCHATEN. With that, join me tomorrow for another edition of iWake. Aloha.